Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Question came into the website, and this one comes from Isaac Simmons. And Isaac said, there is a lot of instruction on using the heel bounce on pitches and sand shots. When should you use the toe bounce? How do you pitch off hard pan? Again, from Isaac Simmons. Okay, Isaac, I guess when you're talking about a lot of talk about heel and toe bounce, I assume you must have purchased from the Serge shop the video that I did with Kenny Knox short game video, because Kenny talks a lot about a heel and toe bounce. Let me just discuss what we got going on here. A bounce is when you take a sand wedge and you hold it up in front of you like this. The leading edge is the part of the face on the ground. The bounce is a high point somewhere on the bottom of the flange up here, and that's the bounce. It goes anywhere from probably 6 degrees to as much as 14 or 16 degrees. The more bounce there is, the more the sand, when you hit a sand shot, the club will bounce through the sand, not dig. If you don't have a whole lot of bounce, like if you take a 60-degree wedge, which has less bounce, because those people usually hit off the tight lies around the green or whatever to get it up fast and stop. You go in a sand trap, there's a good chance that with not enough bounce, because the bounce is like those, like a boat going through the water. It keeps it skidding on top of the water. The bow and those sometime whatever they call them on the side that keeps the bow more out of the water. That's what we want the bounce for. All right, too much bounce becomes difficult to play off hard pan lies like you asked, and therefore even hard pan bunkers. And so when you get this high point here, over here on at the top, toe bounce means the bounce is not all the way out to here. It gets shaved off on the front of the toe over here, so the toe can lay open more and be flatter, the leading edge flatter to the ground. And then heel bounce, it's shaved back from the heel. All right. Now, a lot of wedges today don't really have toe bounce, don't have the heel, the bounce on the toe and the heel shaved off, so those won't open as much. And Kenny Knox is really big on this, and in fact this is the same wedge he uses, because I went out and got me a set after I hit his, because boy, they were great in bunkers, but they're even better around the greens, especially on tight lies. So you got to have the right club to do that. So when do you use toe bounce? Well, naturally you would use toe bounce if you were on a downhill lie around the greens. Let's say I'm on a downhill side hill lie and the green's a little bit below me, and I'm in the rough. And if I just keep the face square, there's a good chance that face is gonna snag in the rough. And I want to hit the ball, and I still need to come up and hit the ball softly, land, and say that the pin's kind of tucked a little close to me. I sort of short-sided myself. Then I'd get the toe bounce. I'd just open it up and I'd lay the toe on the ground, all right, like this. And if the feet's way above me, so let's say I'm making like I'm choking down like I'm on a side hill lie. So I'd have the toe bounce over here, and I'd get on the toe bounce. And I will be hitting the ball a little bit more towards the toe here, because that's where I have to line the club up to use the bounce. I can't line it up on the heel where the heel will be off the ground, because then I'd have more the higher part of the leading edge of the heel coming into the club, which could possibly blade it. So I am going to still hit it out there on the toe, which means it's going to come off a lot deader. It's going to like a brick. And so therefore I possibly got to hit it a little bit harder. So this is something you have to practice. So you get into your setup. Now you can lean a little bit forward with the heel, so you can make sure that you come down. Like if I got a little bit side hill downhill here, I can't stand in here like this way, because I'll probably bounce off the hill. So I have to set myself with the heel, and I'm going to stand in here. I'll still have the ball a little bit farther back, because if I put it too forward, I could be hitting it late and just popping it into the front. So you have to experiment with these and find out, with this slope, where does the ball really need to be, and based on the conditions. And as Kenny talked about in the movie, in the video, ball down and a ball kind of resting in the grass is two different things. Because if it's down, you still have to go get it and make sure this bounce will get to the ground. And if it's up too high, you can't go down too much and swing right under, because it could go poof and just stay right there, hit it so high in the club face it'll only go a couple feet. So you're going to get into your setup. It's going to be on the toe, and you're just going to come in here and you're going to make your normal swing and just clip it off the toe. Conversely, if you were uphill, you could, or on a regular lie, flatter lie, you could open it up more, which means this thing is sitting down nice and flat on that heel. You'd sit up in here, keep it in the same place, and just come back and make your normal swing and go through. So the lie determines what bounce you use. And even if you really don't have your bounce goes all the way and you don't have it shaved off like this wedge does, you could still open that face up more and do that downhill lie off the toe. And just like you could still open up the heel more, which now, as you see, if I'm over here, if my ball is right here on a downhill lie, I'm standing a lot closer to it, and I'm much more vertical, right? I'm much more vertical to that ball, and if I step back on a flatter lie, or even to an uphill lie, I'm in here more, so the club will be at more of its normal angle with the club lying flat on the ground. I just stand in here and just make my, if I need to get it up more because I have almost no room, I got to hit the ball and it's got to come down like a brick. I'll lay it open a little bit and get that flat bounce in there and just pop it up in the air. and depending on how high I need it to go, I might have to put the ball a little more forward, stay back, and kind of really work my hands under the ball more to really get it up there and get it up. And that flew right over the net. And that net is about this high. And it's only like 10 feet from me. Okay? So that's what you got to start practicing, how to open a face and hit it off the toe on those lies that are downhill, and then hit it off with the flange, with the face open, laying on the heel when you want to really get the ball up. Lastly, what's the key to hitting it off of tight lies? Well, again, any tight lie, whether especially if it's hard pan around the green, you need to take a club with if you got a lot of bounce, you got to be careful about ricocheting it in there. So if you got enough room, if you have enough room to land the ball on the green with plenty of room to roll it out, you can get into your normal setup and put it a little bit back in your stance and just come in here and nip it off the ground. You could even go to maybe a pitching wedge to do it, because it'll have less bounce than your sand wedge, and you're going to play a pitch and run. If you have to get it up, boy, that could be a tough one. You need to practice that around the greens. You're going to have to really learn to practice here, and that's why sometimes practicing on a mat isn't too bad, because you can get that club here and you're going to have to really work on right over the net again to be able to nip it off the ground. You got to stay very still, keep the ball in the middle, to maybe even a little forward, stay centered over the ball, and you got to learn to practice that shot where you really get the club perfectly under the ball, where it's under, and then you just, the club's under the ball, just right there, and it'll bounce off the ground and pop it up in the air for you, or back in the stance, and again, you just ricochet off the ground. You get that really low ball that'll hopefully fly to the green. That's because you always want to land on the green. It's the most consistent bounce, and run out to the hole. So you got your two options there. Naturally, if you had a longer shot like a 7-iron, 5-iron out there on hard pan, I cover that again in the situational shots that we did that were really great. I teach how to hit those, and I actually hit a shot standing on it with the ball on the cart path. That's all just take the club, and all I'm trying to do is nip my ball. I might choke the club up a little bit, stand really still, and just all I'm practicing on, and this is almost what you do the way I teach hitting a fairway bunker shot. I just want to nip that ball where the club barely touches the ground. So if I thin it a little bit, I'm fine with that. What I don't want to do is chunk it. I don't want to hit it heavy or hit the ground first, because that would bounce into the ball, and then never mind, it could even hurt your wrist. So I'm just going to nip it off the ground. I'm going to stay really still and just try to nip it off the ground like as if I don't even want to scratch the bottom of my club. Okay? So hopefully that answers your question, and again, if you want more on this stuff, just go to the Surge Shop. The situational shots in there. This video will cover almost everything we talked about and more, as well as especially the short game ones I talked about in the Kenny Knox video. We'll do that. So get it down a little bit when you really want to get deep into it and really start getting the extra skills and talents to really start improving your game and shooting those lower scores. Those videos will take you in there even deeper with great explanations and shots that you can see hit in terms of the setup and everything else you need to really learn those shots and really help you lower your scores. That's it for the Surge for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.